and the breaking news, this new pro-Hillary super PAC. So I want to bring in now political commentators Kayleigh McEnany, who is a Trump supporter, Angela Rye. So before I get you to respond, because I want you to take a crack at it first, I want to play a portion of the ad, Kayleigh, and then we'll talk about it.
She came to my wedding. She ate like a pig. And seriously, the wedding cake was like missing in action.
Does she have a good body? No.
Of course.
Does she have a fat ass? Absolutely.
Well, I just don't respect her as a journalist. I have no respect for her. I don't think she's very good. I think she's highly overrated. But when I came out, and you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
I see. So you treat women with respect?
I can't say that either.
All right.
The response, your response, the video shows Donald Trump's own words. Is this fair game?
This is definitely fair game. It's an effective ad. And, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I do think he needs to have a mea culpa with women. That's going to mean saying the statements I made in the 1990s are not acceptable. I don't stand by those. I don't like those. That's not the same person I am. And that being said, I think the American people will forgive him. They forgave Bill Clinton when he was honest eventually with the American people. I mean, I guess he wasn't honest in the situation with Monica Lewinsky, but eventually the American people forgave him. And I think if he does that, the American people will forgive him.
Do you, some of these statements, though, are recent, and a couple of them are from at least one in this ad, and the short ad was from the show, where it said blood coming out of her wherever. I did that interview. But some of these are recently as August, some of them as recently as a couple of weeks ago. This is not all old things from the 90s.
The two statements that were recent, the one you just referenced and the one saying that she's an overrated journalist, those are recent, yes, but to me that's not clear that he's referring to gender at all in those scenarios. He equally attacks men, he equally attacks women. They're conflating statements from the 90s, and now the statements from the 90s are different. I think he was a different person then than he is now.
Bad. You said it's bad. Is it devastating?
I don't think it's devastating. I think his counter rebuttal, which is what we've heard, the enabler comment, I think it's an effective line of attack, but it's not helpful, no.
Angela, I want to get your response. What's your response to this ad?
So a couple of things. One is, and Don, you've already addressed this, the statements are not from the 1990s. There's a clear connection between Donald Trump's words of yesterday and today. They're consistent. He is remarkably misogynistic and sexist, and I think that he has been very clear that he continues to hold these crazy beliefs in the words that he continues to use today with the hateful vitriol that he spews towards women, even if it's suggestive. I know that now he says that blood coming out of wherever, he meant to say nose. How convenient. And I think the other thing that we can point to is what he said about a fellow candidate who was running, Carly Fiorina and her face. He talked about Hillary Clinton, the length of time that Hillary Clinton was in the bathroom, as disgusting. So there are things that we can point to that aren't in this ad and perhaps correct the record at a time and putting it together, but they can do a part two.
Do you agree?
No, I don't agree, because, look, he attacked Marco Rubio's appearance. He attacked Carly Fiorina's appearance. So he's clearly not saving his attacks just for women. The definition of sexism is saving them just for women. He's attacked men and women equally. And I don't think that he's the same person, but it is up to him to say, I disown the statements from the 90s. Now I'm a different person, and explain that.
Do you think this changes his strategy, though? Because, I mean, listen, let's talk his unfavorables with women. They're high. Do you think this will change his strategy? Because he's going after Hillary Clinton. He's calling, her an enabler for her husband. Some people think it's fair. Some people think it's not, because she didn't actually do it. It was her husband who had the infidelities. Do you think this is going to change his strategy?
I think in one regard. I think that it is okay to say, look, this is coming from Donald Trump. I don't like this. I don't believe it. People say that. And, some people will never believe the things he says. So here's what he can do, and this should change, is say, hey, I'm going to get Juanita Broderick out here. I'm going to get Kathleen Willey out here. I'm going to let the women tell the story. If you let the women tell the story rather than Donald Trump tell the story, I think it adds a lot more credibility to that line of attack.
Yeah, it definitely shows where we're headed in this particular campaign. So, Angela, is this, do you think it's too late for a mea culpa now, as Kayleigh is saying, come out, clarify his remarks and say, the 90s stuff, at least I don't agree with that, and try to clarify some of the other stuff. Do you think women will forgive and forget all the things that he said about women, or at least some of them?
I think it's clear that there are some women who certainly will forgive him. You're sitting across from one right now, and that's Kayleigh. But I don't know that that will work with the massive numbers of women who are not supporting Donald Trump. It certainly won't work for me or with me. I don't see there's nothing worse to me than blaming someone who was the victim of infidelity for that infidelity or for enabling it. I think there's nothing worse than, for example, today we talked a whole lot about Hillary Clinton's role in attacking these women, where I know if I were the woman in her shoes, I would have done far worse than what she did. she thought someone was ridiculous. So I think that that we really have to examine some of that. I also think that now that Donald Trump and his surrogates are attacking Hillary Clinton in words that she used while she was a pro bono court-appointed attorney for a client in the 70s, we have to look at some of the things that he did in the 70s, including the housing discrimination complaints that he succumbed to. I think we also have to look at the fact that when Mike Tyson, who has now endorsed him, was accused of rape.
Angela?
Go for it.
Go ahead. I want to give her a chance to respond because I have to get to a break. But
yeah, no, here's the thing, Angela, that I would question you on is, look, it's one thing, of course, everyone understands being cheated on. That's a horrible feeling, and I completely empathize with women who have been cheated on, but it's a completely different scenario. When you've been cheated on for 2 decades, you know about this, and yet you still try to discredit the victims. No, you're blaming the victim.
Now.
I'm blaming the bully. You're blaming the victim.
No, she's not a bully because she was cheated on.
Go please read what Juanita Broderick said happened to her and what
Kaylee,
Kathleen Willey said happened to her.
Go read what Donald Trump said about Mike Tyson's rape victim. You're throwing stones and you're living in a plexiglass house. There is a major problem here, and you are going to have to confront it on your side too.
All right, that's going to have to be it. Sorry about we ran out of time. We come right back. A man who's got the ear of the conservative voters, what they're telling him about Donald Trump. We'll be right back.